Hi, I'm Kelly Jordon. Welcome to Lucky Craft Web TV. What I'd like to share with you guys now is a new bait that we have out that is really awesome. Everyone knows about the swim bait craze. You got all the different kind of swim baits. You got the sinking swim baits, you got the shallow diving swim baits, you got the surface swim baits. All of them are great, and everybody's looking for another little angle on a swim bait that'll be a little bit better, maybe a little bit more realistic, but the bottom line is you're trying to find one that'll catch you more fish, and more big fish especially, because that's what you're looking for when you're fishing a swim bait. What we have in this new Real California Premium, it's kind of a small bait. It's not as big as some of them, but it's actually, it's not tiny. It's about 5.5, 6 inches long. It's got 3 joints in it, and that helps it swim in that totally lifelike swimming action. It's not a crazy wobble. It's a very natural, almost a subtle swimming action that really triggers the big bite from those big fish because it looks so natural. They'll come up, and once they get a close look at it, when you got the finish that Lucky Craft puts on these baits, it's a done deal. They'll come up and close it every time. It's unbelievable. You still get some follows, but this is an awesome bait. Very excited to share it with you guys. Now, one of the aspects of using swim baits is you want to really be able to match the hatch or mimic whatever bait fish that the really big bass are feeding on in whatever particular lake you're on or whatever particular part of the country you're on, whatever variables you're, looking at. Maybe the really big ones are biting a certain bait and the ones that aren't so big aren't biting it, so maybe you're going for a couple bites with big ones or whatever you want to do. The possibilities are unlimited. This is one of my favorite colors right here. This mimics a lot of different, bait fish. It's a ghost color. It's a ghost minnow. It's kind of translucent, not quite a bright silver, but it has kind of a silver sheen to it. Greenish olive back. It looks like a lot of bait fish throughout the country. It mimics a shad very well, mimics a hitch, on the West Coast, which is a bait fish they have out there that those big bass love to eat. Even looks like a sucker minnow maybe. There's a lot of bait fish that this imitates, and it's really lifelike looking because it is translucent. The $10,000 question about swim baits is when to throw them. Now, everybody says you can only throw them when maybe it's really cloudy and really windy, or maybe some people will say when it's bright, sunny, and no wind. I've seen them caught in both conditions equally well. You let the fish tell you when they want it or when they don't. But the bottom line about swim baits is throw this bait when you're trying to look for a larger than average bite or you're looking for that fish of a lifetime. What this bait does is it comes through the water, swims, so lifelike like a bait fish, and it's really very easy to throw. It's kind of heavy. Throw it on a heavier rod, maybe a flipping stick, fairly heavy line. I'd say probably at least 20-pound tail. Some people like to throw them on braid because they don't want to lose these things because they're like their pets. But what you do, how you do your retrieve, is you make a long cast, but when you reel it in, kind of the slow roll retrieve is probably the most used, most common retrieve with these swim baits. It has that real natural swimming action, and you just slow roll it. Now the key is to pause it periodically. Like probably if you make a really long cast, probably about maybe the first third of the way in, give it a pause, count to 2 or 3, maybe give it a small twitch, and then continue that slow, steady retrieve, maybe pause it again about 2/3 of the way back to the boat. And then the key is, if you can see it when it gets closer than that, really pay attention and watch your bait and look and see if there's a bass following this bait, because they do that a lot. Sometimes they'll be right behind it, sometimes they'll be underneath it. And when you see that out there at a distance, you want to try to pick it up and use good polarized glasses. Pick it up, and when you see that fish, then you can give it a pause. And what's really exciting about this bait, when it's swimming like this and you give it a pause, you kind of want to give it a little slack line, the bait will actually turn sideways and sit there and almost suspend. And it's that turn that'll trigger a following fish to go ahead and bite it. If it's just swimming, they're just shadowing it, and all of a sudden it turns in their face and stops, and they can't stop their momentum. They can't stop on a dime. So they almost run into the bait sometimes, and they'll go ahead and take it. Now, that's one of the tricks to get in a lot more bites on a swim bait.